Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Mixlife, episode 41. We're back after a long holiday break. I'm here with Adam and Rick. We're going to talk a little bit about, I don't know, there's not that much to talk about last year that we haven't already talked about like 500 times. Oh, my fuck. And again, I forgot to turn off the stream when I open the chat or whatever. So I was talking to myself in my own ear, and it freaks me out every time. And then like I completely lose my train of thought. But what more exciting is we're going to talk about some stuff that we've done for the new year. So this year we've added Fear and Chris DeVore to our team. We're going to be making some big moves with those guys and everyone else here in the near future. Keep an eye out on the chef's page in the next month. You're going to see some crazy big news coming out of e-juice makers and chefs partnership really, really soon. It's going to be huge. So it's going to be probably one of the biggest DIY releases, I think, probably in the history of one-shots, really. It's going to be big, 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 big. I'm super excited. Yep. That's my sales pitch. How do you guys like it?
Well, I mean, I'm super excited too. So
no, it's stoked.
We're
all working hard. We started this new initiative where we're working together to mix on camera, like just in a group of us, so that we're all like just co-developing a ton of stuff all at once. It's going to be a big, big deal. It's going to be really fun.
We're pretending like we're actual functioning social people. It's weird for us, but yeah, it seems to be working okay so far.
Yeah, social and professional.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. The professional part I think might have been too far, especially for Adam. Look at this guy with his backwards fucking hat. Are you going to what's that movie, Over the Top, with Sylvester Stallone, right?
Yeah, I'm about to arm wrestle. I always
arm wrestle, dude.
I flip the hat when it's serious time.
Yeah.
Mixlife deserves the flip of the hat. 2018, I flipped the hat.
Yeah. It's time. It's
time.
We're to arm wrestle all of the DIY community. Are you ready?
Dude, I was on a show with Slasha, and he wears a lot of tank tops. I'm just going to go ahead and defer on the arm wrestling.
Is he a big dude? Is he burly? I don't think I've ever seen him.
No, I mean, he's not.
I've only seen him from like here, like up.
No, I mean, he doesn't look like a big dude, but he's like jacked, and I'm pretty sure he drinks a lot of protein powder, so I'm pretty scared. He was talking about whey, so anybody who talks about whey, I just assume can out arm wrestle me.
I take whey.
Okay, well there you go. You can out arm wrestle me.
Concrete's like, I don't want any of that. You're talking about whey. We're done here.
Too far.
You go right ahead, sir.
My phone's down.
I'm just gonna concede the arm wrestling right now.
Right. No, I'm a terrible arm wrestler though, because I had surgery on my right shoulder, and they took out like a bunch of muscle right here, so it's like it's nothing. I can pick stuff up, but like there's like a big hole there where there used to be a muscle. It's pretty weird, actually. That's why I have to take it, because otherwise, like I lose strength in my arms too fast.
It's so weird. For the record, you should challenge Copel to arm wrestling.
I never lose though, because I can lock my elbow and shoulder into place. So I'll just sit there all day and wait for you to get tired, and then usually people just get pissed off, and then I'll like sneak a win in after people have been like grunting for 20 minutes.
Just run into the room and push them over really quick.
Right, just knock me over, and then you'll win. That won't be hard because I have no balance. I have the grace of a drunken cow. Like, got nothing. All right, so new in mixing, we've been working pretty hard at like kind of expanding the way we approach flavor profiles. So part of the thing that we've been doing like in our private mixing sessions is really like spending a lot of time like figuring out where we can get away with pushing the envelope, and then releasing new profiles that are just very non-traditional, right? So and sourcing the inspiration for that can be kind of challenging sometimes. A lot of times it's just like this weird kind of manic chatter. Like last time between Rick and I, it was weird and crazy because we were just like two squirrels in a sea of like edibles, and we just got crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just calling out random flavor names and then digging through piles to find what we think might kind of work with it. It was pretty. But it was pretty productive. So
it was actually ultra productive. So it was cool. And it's something I would encourage you guys to do. Like if you're learning to mix, or if you're like even if you're intermediate or advanced, like just have it like, I can't believe like what a difference it made, like not just in my productivity, but like in my ability to like kind of like expand my thinking, right? When you're talking with somebody that you can like bounce your ideas off directly. So if you guys have webcams or microphones and you can Skype people or FaceTime them, and you got a mixing buddy online that you talk to sometimes, like hit them up, dude, and spend 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever, just chilling on camera and making juice. It was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like this thing where Rick and I just silently and sadly dripped our flavors into a bottle and then shook them up, and then we're like quietly acknowledged each other afterwards, right? Like two gentlemen.
Oh,
that's not what happened.
Shoot, I put an extra drop in the bottle.
Right. Right. And then Rick twists his mustache at the end like this. Right. Can you do that? I don't know. I have too much.
Yeah, I've never tried, man.
I have to make mine start to do it naturally, and I have to really like pay attention and like constantly brush them down, or they start to stray up. And I'm like,
I just go full Hulk Hogan when my mustache grows in more. It just gets all weird and truckery. It's kind of nice.
So mine's like actually like it's like sleeper length, right? Like it hides inside my beard, but there's like this awkward gap here, and if I don't brush it down, it just sticks up like that all the time, and it's really awkward.
When you do that, you look like somebody I would pay $14 for a cocktail,
right? Or a $7 cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
Like the design drawn in the cream and shit or whatever, that's like a thing, I guess. I don't know what it's called. There's like a name for it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, no, I know. I have to be really conscious of it because it freaks me out every time it starts to happen.
Just look in the mirror and take a deep, long breath and ask yourself, do I look like a hipster today?
Right. Yeah. I had to
and then weep, then cry a little.
In the early 2000s, I had to throw away all my trucker hats because people started to like them. I was like, fuck, man, I had such a great collection of trucker hats.
What was that brand? There was a douchey Los Angeles brand that had
I feel like everything that came out of Los Angeles in the last 20 years is like,
yeah,
kind of depressing on the fashion. I mean, I'm not a fashionable guy, right? I buy my t-shirts at fucking Walmart, you know?
No, but the Ed Hardy thing, I lived in LA at that time, and it was pretty rough. Oh, Von Dutch, that man.
And of course, that man comes in with Von Dutch. I'm not that man.
I don't know. I'm too redneck to even know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's like a thing.
No, it's just like, I don't know. It's
like a fashion.
LA has like a special douchebaggery behavior that like they're trying to one up themselves within LA. So it gets crazy. It's crazy. It was a strange place to like cut my teeth as a young 18-year-old working in Johnny Rockets.
Last time I went down to LA was for a Black Flag show before in 1989.
Yeah, I had to ride a bus. I rode the bus in LA, and I didn't have laundry at the house I lived at, so I'd have to get on the bus with a bag of dirty clothes. But I looked like I was a homeless guy. So it taught me some good life lessons.
I just want to imagine that you at 18 in LA was like a Guns N' Roses video, like the first minute and a half of a Guns N' Roses video before everything starts to rock.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Before they break to the piano solo, the Sweet November Rain starts coming down.
Yeah.
I want to imagine you just had hair down to your ass too.
I worked at Brookstone, and the entire management staff was stealing shit from Brookstone in like a coordinated effort. And like my third day there, like it's like late at night and just the manager, and he's like, take anything you want. And I was like, he's like, we all do it. So they were like, it was one of the most like corrupt places I've ever worked was Santa Monica Brookstone. And then I worked at a Banana Republic for a day, and I couldn't stand getting hit on by the entire gay guy staff. And I was like, nah, it's not for me. So then I went to Johnny Rockets where I sang show tunes, which was also demeaning. And then I ended up at an all-Mexican restaurant where I was the only white guy. That was my LA employment record. All of that stays off the resume.
Right. My first like 5 jobs were like in like Seattle art galleries in the 90s because they would hire kids to do anything. Like, so I would just like spend all day shrink wrapping prints, and I hated it. But
oh, dude, like, I just worked fast food, man.
It was like easy under the table, and then I went to fast food because then I discovered what overtime looks like. You know, when you actually can get it. So overtime in Seattle was easy to get in a fast food place because nobody like the amount of business they get from like 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. is like insane. I worked at the Taco Bell downtown Seattle, like off Capitol Hill, and it was fucking completely bonkers. Like,
I think my first real job was working at Taco Time, which is far superior to Taco Bell.
I have to agree with you on except for the nacho cheese. Like,
yeah, but like if you're from the Northwest, you realize that Taco Time and Taco Bell don't even play the same game. But I worked at Taco Time up in Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, I know Bellingham pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. That one out like Meridian by where they put the Walmart and stuff, and like out towards the reservation out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know exactly where that is. Still there, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of a shithole while I was there, but yeah, it's probably still standing through some miracle.
Well, those shithole places turn over a lot of money, you know, and they just don't put any more money into it. They just maintain the status quo, the bare minimum, and then they pocket all that profit. And then like 20 years later, they renovate once.
I will say
for 10 years.
I will say it was an excellent place to be unsupervised though, because we never had managers around. The restaurant was always like super understaffed, which sucked. But when it came time for employee meals, being unsupervised in a Taco Time where they have like actual ingredients sitting there, I had some of the best and weirdest employee meals there. Like I was deep frying everything up in there. It was fantastic.
Yeah, buddy, dude, that was the best. Those are good. When I first transitioned from like working fast food to like working in the bar kitchens and stuff, like that's when I discovered like the real weirdness, right? Because all the cooks go in the fucking freezer to smoke weed, you know, and then after lunch rush is over and the dishes are caught up, you have like 2 hours before dinner's time is, and like that's when we like take breaks and like make retarded stuff, right? We just deep fry everything.
Yeah, all deep fried everything. You should not let people like in their teens and early 20s have unfettered access to a deep fryer. It's just going to lead to amazing
and ground beef in bulk, right?
Yeah, right. Or the Taco Time chicken, man. That stuff is like more expensive than gold by the ounce, and I had free reign over all of it. It was fantastic.
We used to do this thing where we would fry up a bunch of breakfast sausage and then roll it in biscuit dough, right? Like stuff the biscuit dough with it, and then we deep fry the biscuit dough, and then we cover it with more gravy and sausage. It was glorious. I ate that shit every day.
Taco Time has those weird, like, they're kind of like a flauta, but gigantic. Yeah, like the crispy burrito things. So my big go-to was I would always like stuff like 2 of those inside a full-size burrito and then deep fry the burrito. I mean, I got fat for a reason, people.
Right. It's cool, man.
I had a job. My first job was a shitty video store, which is far superior than a busy video store. Because I would just sit there by myself and watch like old movies that I wanted to watch, and somebody would come in and I'd pause the movie, and then they'd leave, and then like an hour, I'd have like an extra hour, and then I would employee discount my snacks, so I'd eat candy, drink soda, and watch movies, and then the owners apparently were like mega coke heads and ended up skipping town on their video store, their house, and their 2 cars. So like just one day randomly when I was like 15, my job disappeared and they disappeared. So that was my first introduction to employment, was like cartel business. But it was the easiest job I've ever had, I think. Nice. That and Mixlife.
Right. It's a pretty easy job.
It's just putting flavors in bottles. How hard can it be, man?
Yeah,
we don't get paid for this, and neither does DIY or Die now. If anybody didn't see that,
oh, they demonetized a bunch of his stuff, didn't they?
totally demonetized to the point where there's zero ad revenue.
Well, we made no money to begin with, so
it's not like we're gonna miss it.
We set a low bar on purpose, so
right.
Hey, I got paid like $5 to strip on the last show before the break, so we have some income coming in.
Yeah, Concrete River was actually our largest income producer, and that was because he sexually sold out to Leilani.
Oh lordy!
And she tried to bring that up in the mega show we did. She was like, "You still owe me a shirtless." I was like, "No, I don't."
Sometimes they're tough. Sometimes you just got to get out there on your hoe stroll.
You gotta strut it for the dollar bills.
Real quick, briefly mixing related. I just finished sampling like 60% of the Vape Train line, and then I've been pretty pleasantly surprised. Although they don't hit the bar on potency like you hit with Flavor or Flavora, they kind of hover somewhere between TPA, Capella, and Flavor in like potency range. So I don't know, 2 to 6% depending on the flavor. But so far, all the flavors. I was weird and I got all their weird flavors first, right? Because I figure that's the best way to judge a company. I don't care if their strawberry is good, right? Everybody's strawberry is pretty all right. But I want to know if their weird shit actually works. And their weird shit actually works. So far, pound for pound, all of their florals have been able to compete or outdo all the other florals on the market. All their boozes are good. All the tobaccos are pretty solid, although they're not, they're not red burley, right? But they're good. But to be honest, I'm kind of bored with red burley anyways. So
Vape Train better, or it's a buyable brand, you'd say?
I'd say it's definitely buyable. There's a lot of stuff in there that's really unique. They have like the Feoja, the snake fruit. Their shisha line actually tastes like shisha, right? It doesn't just taste. It's not just like a shisha name on or a wet fruit or whatever. It tastes. There's like a vague kind of leafy, not actual tobacco, but just I don't know if you ever actually like smoked a lot of shisha, you'll know what I mean. Like there's that sort of like
that kind of like weird, moist, almost a tobacco note.
Yeah, and it actually exists in quite a few of them, except the banana. I didn't really get the banana out of the shisha out of the banana, but it's a good banana. And their golden syrup, man, like it's probably because I'm not really like a maple guy at all, but their golden syrup is delicious because it's like what happens when the butter and the like pancake syrup sits on top of your pancakes for a few minutes after the butter's melted, and it's that little pool right on top, so it's like almost more butter than syrup. It's delicious. It's the best stuff ever. No, Chris Drake, I don't think we have any US retailers stocking VC yet, but I'm trying to help Theo with that right now to see if we can find him an outlet here in the US so we can get them shipped. But Chefs does ship them to the US relatively inexpensively. $6.50 I think is flat rate shipping to the States still. Yeah, I haven't ordered from Chefs in a little while, but I'm sure that's probably still what it is.
Yeah, and I've got everything that I've ordered from them within like 2 weeks too, which is definitely not bad for being on the West Coast.
Yeah, when you factor like the distance, like that's pretty good. Other notable weird stuff, if you're really into the weirds, the Perano carrot is maybe even more authentic than Flavora carrot, which I'm not sure helps its case any or not, because it's a little dirtier, but also a little sweeter. So it's pretty cool. The pandan leaf, if you're into pandan at all, or like rice puddings and stuff, like the pandan leaf is really super authentic, but horrifically strong. So start ridiculously low. I think like 0.15%, and it was still almost too strong for me.
Did you say pandan?
Yeah, pandan, PANDAN.
It's made of real pandas.
Yeah, that's what
it's made from real pandas. And everything else has just been like pretty cool. The fizzy sherbet is neat. It's a good sherbet flavor. I don't get much fizzy from it, but it's kind of got like a nice, like kind of light overtone without being weird and harsh. So, and the citrus didn't fade too bad, which was cool. But I don't get much raspberry out of it, so it's really more like just a citrus ice cream. Sahara tobacco was probably my favorite of the 3 tobaccos they sent me. I like them all. They're good though.
I got the new Flavor Apprentice stuff.
Oh yeah, you did. Which ones of those stood out for you?
I like fruit smoothie. I think it's like a good base for like. I mean, I don't see you can't really get anything besides a fruit smoothie. Maybe if you were making a fruit yogurt, it would help. But it's kind of like the note for like a blender. So there's no sharp notes to it. So it has like a bland base. And then I tried a little strawberry ripe, little orange mandarin, and marshmallow. And I'm still waiting to hear. I made that for my girlfriend, so we'll see what she thought of it. And then the Pog doesn't deliver, I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the original Pog you guys are going after, but it seemed to be like orange heavy. Like you get more orange than the guava or the whatever
like actual Pog, like the juice like was pretty orange heavy, right? And then it was like a guava nectar in the background. But the thing that made Pog so good, I think as a kid, was just because it was like practically concentrate level like thickness, right? It was just super sweet and syrupy. Like those nectar drinks you can get like from Mexico, you know what I'm talking about? And they come in like the blue can. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, you can get the something Mex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those are good. The fruit nectars, and they're really thick and heavy. And like that's the thing about Pog. I think that Pog is really difficult to deliver on. Like Dave and I have been like working on Pog for like over a year, right? We've gone over like I don't know, probably 100 revisions between the two of us. And you know, we're probably never going to give up. But like at the same time, like I have a realistic view that it may not be something we can ever hit with what's available currently.
Jumex, Jumex. That's what it is.
Old Smith asked if I could recommend a decent apricot.
I can take that one, actually.
Yeah. Right.
So I have a video shot comparing Capella, TPA, Flavora, and Flavor Art Apricot, breaking them all down. That will be up on my YouTube channel as soon as my ancient internet connection finishes uploading it after the show. But my takeaway from it was if you want something that tastes like an actual apricot, Capella's apricot is like an apricot nectar. Essentially, there's nothing weird. There's no vanilla. It's not too peachy. Flavor Art's usually the go-to for like a jammy apricot, but by itself, it's super dry. So you're not going to get like a full apricot jam out of it unless you probably layer in like something like Capella.
So if you mention Pog in the chat, ID10T will show up out of nowhere.
He arrives. Is this how you summon Dave? If you ever need to.
If you want concrete, you say his ego's gotten too big, or that yam is not a good flavor.
Yeah, you just call me a monster and I'll show up. But Dave,
like, what happened? Pog. What happened to concrete? His head's too big. He'll show up. And then if you want Dave, you just say Pog anywhere in any chat on YouTube. Oh shit!
Pog mango. So out of those are like these keywords he sits on Google and searches for.
Yeah, no, he has like that SEO stuff set up just for pickle. He wants to be the pickle guy. But out of those new TPA flavors, I think the one that surprised me the most, I haven't tested all of them. I'm like way behind on my testing, but their cherry extract, man, it's like blueberry extra. So it's like TPA's blueberry extra. Like it doesn't have a bunch of body. It's like more of a cherry top note. It's vaguely candied, but the important thing about it, it doesn't taste like cough syrup. So that is really promising. So get on that cherry extract hype train.
Yeah, it's on my list of shit with the Cola Fizz. I need the Cola Fizz.
Cola Fizz is cool. So when you I'll like just do like a smell test and sometimes taste test on that stuff. But like the Cola Fizz, when I opened the bottle, it was like a surprising, like, damn, that might be right. Like, was how close it seemed. So if you're like on the cola crazy, it seemed to be like, it somehow seemed to be sparkling. Like it has like I don't know what they're doing over there. I got to look at the ingredients they put together on that, but it's definitely crazy. So if you're a soda guy like Chris is, it might be something you pursue.
Yeah, I haven't actually made a soda vape in a while, except for Flavora root beer. But yeah, I mean, Flavora root beer was like a game changer. I was like, oh well, I don't have to work anymore. Like, it's not as complicated as it used to be now. Now if I could just get them to do a cola that's as good as their root beer, like I'd be set.
Oh yeah, make us Flavora if you're listening. We want a Dr. Pepper and a cola.
I can turn cola into Dr. Pepper, so if I'd settle for just cola.
We're all not wizards here.
And Bryson, if you're listening, also don't do Dr. Pepper because ever since you guys got rid of Bing Cherry, all of your cherries suck.
Bring back Bing Cherry.
I love you guys, but man, Bing Cherry hurts.
Cherry extract, my dude. Cherry extract. I'm pretty sure you could do Dr. Pepper with that.
Yeah, I really want to get on that because I had a really like 90% perfect Dr. Pepper recipe, but the cherry like it fades, you know. And there's definitely like some cherry business going on there.
Yeah, for sure. It's a cherry. There's definitely cherry in Dr. Pepper.
Well, there's stone fruit. I don't know specifically if it's cherry. A lot of people have theorized that it's plum, which I'm prone to believe since my last experiment was with FA marzipan and Inaware plum to get this like that the stone fruitiness in Dr. Pepper out, and it worked out pretty well. But I don't know. I haven't messed with it in a long time. It's been like a year.
So this week we all learned that Shindo is not an artificial intelligent chatbot. So that was exciting. He's a real human being. So.
And he asked for a double feature today, and I reminded him that his features had already doubled and that we didn't really need any more Shindo than we already had. So. Oh, that's good. Oh man, what other new stuff you guys tried?
I've been working through some of the jungle flavors and Flavor Express stuff that e-cig sent me, so that's been interesting. The jungle flavor stuff has been solid. I think a lot of the stuff that they do, they target specific flavors, some of their newer stuff, and they're doing a good job of targeting those flavors. There's a couple, like I like their RY4 quite a bit better than TPA's RY4, so they do improve on, a couple of the concentrates. The Flavor Express thing is a little bit more iffy for me, just because I've never really gotten behind those like alcohol based like super concentrate Flavor Express flavors. They always feel kind of thin to me. Does anybody else get that out of those?
I get it out of some of them, but I can't say that I get it out of all of them. Some of them have some decent body, like, but then suffer from other things like Flavor Express Sweet Rice definitely has lots of body and robustness, but the top notes all fade really bad after like a week or week and a half.
Yeah, the Flavor Express, you're tasting the sweat of small Chinese children that labored to put those together.
Well, when they did it in the Sweet Rice, they did it right. It's delicious. Whatever those kids were wearing when they sweat gets into the liquid just perfectly. Quick question. DIY Down Under Acify. I thought I could simulate a reasonable fizz in a cola recipe using sherbet fizz from Vape Train, and I don't think so, because I'd have to use it high enough that the kind of creamy undertone I think would kind of really make some awkward competition for like a syrupy cola base. So I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I've had better luck with just using Flavor Art Cola and a little bit of, whatever, some sour, some citric acid or malic acid to kind of enhance it. But fizz is kind of like one of those like lost dreams, right? Like I haven't seen a company do it right yet. And the ones that do like kind of give a remote fizz often come with like pretty big downsides, like shitty flavor, like TPA champagne rig. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you badmouth my champagne. It's one of like my 5 mixing crutches. Okay.
Flavor West Pink Champagne is way better than TPA champagne. I just want to say that.
Flavor West Pink Champagne has a more distinct grapey flavor to it.
It does. It has a flavor that's harder to cover up. But that's the downside, right? To trying to get the fizz is that you have to deal with the champagne flavor. Inaware and Flavor Art champagnes aren't anywhere. They're not fizzy at all, but they're kind of boozy and white grapey.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Flavor Arts white wine flavor. It's just kind of lightly sour and like indistinctly fruity. I don't know. I just put champagne in everything at this point. So
Right. So just the fizz is just like a thing. Like it's a mouthfeel thing, and what we're doing when we aerosolize liquid is we're gonna lose out on texture. Like it's just a thing that we're gonna always do, right? You're never gonna get a full mouth of cake from a yellow cake vape. It just doesn't happen, right? You might get a full mouth of cancer from a full bottle of Flavor West yellow cake, but probably not gonna get it like the mouthfeel, right?
So everybody release your cherry extract cola fizz recipes.
Right. Prove me wrong.
As soon as possible to beat Chendo on his cherry coke that he's clearly working on.
just cut that shit right off at the knees, man.
Right.
Crabs in a bucket, folks.
Crabs in a bucket. Right. So yeah,
that Vince Staples album is so good.
What is it? I don't know.
There's a Vince Staples' newest album. Had a song called "Crabs in the Bucket." And it's like a weird kind of like '90s house take on West Coast rap. It's very strange. It's awesome stuff, though.
I like him. He's a good artist.
Did Shindo just say we're gonna race to a cherry cola recipe? Is that
right now live?
All right.
Couple Coupels game. All you gotta do is just put cola fizz at a 1 on your cherry coke recipe you already got.
No,
done.
Copel's coming in with that Flavor West Cherry Crush.
It's already done. Beat you to it like a year ago.
He'll drop some garbage and talk enough people to believe it is good.
That's a solid mix up mango sticky rice, my dudes.
Man, I wanted. Dave just mentioned Wonder Flavor's jelly bean. I really wanted Wonder Flavor's jelly bean to work because it tastes pretty good, but God, it's harsh, man. I get like this violent throat hit from it.
I just want to know when Noted's doing a cheese podcast,
right? Or cheesecake, maybe. Because I can bring some pain with the cheesecake. It'd be all right. I got some references.
See, you just got to prepare for that cheesecake thing like 6 months in advance because most of those awful flavors would be okay if you let them sit for 6 months. It's the FA new yogurt principle.
Right. I can't vape any cheesecake fresh. Like I have to let everything sit for a month, even like Capper TPA with graham crust.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks for cheesecake at least. And that's what makes the Creed's custard work, is because it's got a 3-week steep time. Like if you tried to vape that in a week, you'd be dying. Yeah, this year, I think you were right when you were talking about, doing cocktails. I think that's definitely be a trend this year.
I'm hoping so. I mean, cocktails are fun. They're like an adult thing, right? So like, you can be nostalgic about your early 20s and still, whatever, have good flavors. You don't have to be whatever. I don't know.
Well, and it's a good excuse for people to start working in kind of bitter, contrasting flavors into their recipes. That's always been one of my favorite things is recipes that actually balance out like bitter notes to sort of accentuate sweet stuff.
So I read this really cool study about how people with varying palate strengths consume alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And like sweeter people who have, no offense to anybody who might be listening and feel that their palate is strong as hell. People who have like low palate resilience, like or low quality like tasting ability, like they all love IPAs, right? So you IPA lovers out there,
ouch.
Because for people with more sensitive palates, like the hops is like it's like violent aggression in your mouth, right? Like,
well, what if you're just a masochist though? Like, what if you like bitter and you like aggressive?
Well, but IPAs aren't bitter; they're sweet. If IPAs were bitter, I'd believe what you're saying. But IPAs aren't. They're not bitter; they're sweet.
You don't get any kind of bitterness from those hoppy, like terpene kind of notes?
I get a little bit, but I still get so much sweet from what they add to IPAs to counterbalance it, right?
I mean, granted, I haven't had a beer in like 4.5 years, so I'm talking entirely out of my ass here. But yeah, I remember there being like a good amount of like actual bitter notes to kind of balance out the sweet. And for me, that's kind of why I liked those really intense, stupid IPAs, like the 8 and 9% IPAs with, you know, like a truck full of hops in them, just because you get all of that sort of balance from those more aggressive hop notes.
There's something to be said, like people avoid bitter a lot, and there's a use for bitter. You know, it's kind of one of the. I was watching, I don't know, it's like chefs, some like not chefs, the brand, but like actual cooking chefs talk about, you know, how bitter is kind of a taste you acquire later. Like you grow up on the sweet. You know, when you're kids, sweet, and then a lot of people have like Chef Boyardee palates where they, you know, salty, buttery, fat, and sweet, but they don't really mess with like the umami, like Shindo mentioned, and then the bitter. You know, like that's why people hate Flavor Art coffee or whatever the hell it's called.
Well, it's bitter. It's dry and bitter. Yeah, they're dry, dark bean. Dark bean,
yeah, because but I mean that's a real coffee. You know, people just say coffee and they're thinking like, I want 4% sweetener, 9% cream, and then a drop of dark bean, and that's their idea of coffee. So it's you know, if you're trying to expand your palate, make some weird bitter stuff.
Well, exactly, and that's just it. Like, and I know that it's like a thing that comes with, you know, also like with aging, right? Like your ability to appreciate bitter things. You know, it grows as you get older. But really, the article just was basically talking about like how, you know, people with with a more refined palate tend to lean to like bitter alcohols, not very sweet, and that's it. Like stouts and gins and vodkas with not as many like sweet cocktail additives. So like martinis and fucking whatever stuff with bitters in it.
If you drink Sailor Jerry's, you have a shitty palate.
Well, if you're drinking Sailor Jerry's, you've probably got other life choices that you should consider. You know. I'm just kidding. Have I tried the lemon cream cheese barquillo by Levani yet? I didn't even see that release. No, I haven't tried it. I haven't tried anyone's recipes since like September or October, I think. It was like the last time I mixed somebody else's stuff. That sounds mean, except for like internal stuff between the juice makers.
You ain't gonna mix your shit. Quit asking.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. It's not that I'm not open to it. Just it's a time thing for me. Like I usually don't have enough time to like mix a bunch of people's recipes. If people, I
didn't say I like fucking flavor artists, dark bean, whatever. I just said people like bitter stuff.
That's I like dark bean at like 0.15%, like really low, but I like it.
It just tastes like burnt popcorn to me, man. It's that weird.
It's got that burnt coffee thing going on, but I think it adds authenticity to like if you're trying to go for that shitty gas station coffee thing, right? Like
the 4 in the afternoon coffee that was brewed at 9.
Yeah,
dude, I love shitty gas station coffee. Like that's one of like my big vices. When I was working delivery, I drank so much bad gas station coffee, and I just grew to love it. Tastes like productivity.
Well, that's exactly it, right? Like it's not necessarily what you would typically consider a good flavor, but I enjoy it, right? Like I like it for what it is. I think it's part of why I like the Wonder Flavors Brazilian coffee, because it's just like a straight up fucking fuck you, this is coffee, right?
Yeah, I like that too. I made something with it that was all right. The Brazilian coffee was closest to coffee I've come across so far.
Yeah, it's really straightforward, and it's not so like horrifically strong that if you over pour by a drop or two that you're gonna destroy your project. It's like a medium strength, which is actually kind of nice because it's easier to work with.
There's things though that people want, and then like it doesn't actually turn into a good vape. You know, that's like with chocolates. Like I make chocolates and then I vape them, and I'm like, I don't want to vape chocolate. You know, it's like one of those things where you think it'll be good and then you make it and you're like, I don't want to fucking vape this. Like coffee, same thing. You know, where like you make it the right way and then you're like, I don't want to vape this all day.
I don't know. I don't care for chocolates all that much. I'm not really a big bakery person anyways. I mean, you know.
I like chocolates more for the actual like cocoa note, which is why I like Hankson's, because like I like that dark chocolate cocoa. But yeah, vaping milk chocolate is not necessarily on my list of things to do.
No, the cocoa note is nice, so I agree. Wonder Flavors cocoa is actually pretty cool because it's got like you know when you make hot chocolate and you use less milk than you're supposed to, right? So it's like heavy on the kind of like borderline powdery cocoa flavor. It's kind of like that. I mean, without the milk factor, right? It's just got that kind of like dry cocoa powder flavor to it. It's pretty cool. It's dark as fuck though, and it pretty much destroys your coils. So I mean, which is fine, I guess.
But it's a pretty high bar with cocoa flavors destroying your coils because nothing touches the coil destroying power of Flavor Arts cocoa.
That's true. Flavor Arts cocoa is pretty violent. So.
And it's funny because it's not a bad flavor. I'm just still not convinced you should actually try to vape it.
Right. It reportedly doesn't have any diatones in it, but there's things in chocolate, right? There's volatiles in chocolate that just don't vaporize well. So it's in all chocolates. There's not a single chocolate, I think, on the market that you can put on your coils and like not have it like trash your coils in a day. I don't think I've ever made a chocolate that didn't fuck up my coils inside of 24 hours.
Yeah, it just feels weird when you drop those in and like your mix turns black. Like squid ink black. You're just like, oh no. Let's see what else is going on in the vape world. Let's see. The Muffin Man at Liquid Barn is going to be a game changer because it's not even about Muffin Man, but it's about a vape brand selling a one shot.
Which is a big line coming down to the one shot level.
If that shit happens across the board, it will bring in a whole bunch of competitors, right? But it'll also give us as one-shot makers kind of another step to reputability. We're like, yeah, we're not just DIY, we're making the same products that now they are, you know.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I think that if they've signed more people than just that brand, like if you're seeing like a unicorn milk and things, because every one of those is going to bring in people that are just like hardcore Muffin Man type of vapors. And they're going to be coming into DIY because they're like, oh, I can get my actual all-day vape now cheaper. So I think if that expands out, we're going to see a whole new audience that just has never left vape shop. So I like it. I think it has the potential to really expand our market. I think like this is the year of the one shot. Like I think by the end of this year we'll have like 100 one shots at least from each makers coming out because we have the team, you know, getting Fear and Chris DVR. Those are some heavy hitters, and then the rest of the team I consider like some of the best mixers, you know, and even the rank, if you go to like all the flavors, the whole team's pretty much top 30 of the mixers, you know. So I like DJ Mills too. That's one that we don't have that, you know, maybe one day, whatever, just because the way he copies stuff that's actual grocery store is pretty cool.
The master of Fat Kid vapes. Like seriously, that is so not my profile, but he does such an awesome job on it. It's been a treat trying his stuff.
The way he dialed in that golden Oreo, like completely blew my mind, man. It was good. It's crazy good. I never had something so like authentic to its real life counterpart.
You know, and part of us having a team so big is like it's like having 13 kids that I have to feed. So when we're doing deals and shit, like it goes from being like not just about like, oh, let me get a one shot, but it's like, let me get a one shot and these other 13 people. So the deals have to be bigger. The projects have to be bigger. So I really think this year you guys are going to see a lot of work from us, a lot of projects, and a lot of great one shots that are going to really changed things. I think where last year was the year of us getting into America, and the year before that was us just kind of figuring out what we were going to do. This year will really be, the scale where we scale up.
Yeah.
So
this is the Roman expansionist campaign year. So
yeah,
it's ready. Carthage, we're coming.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be good. I'm super stoked. Like I teased earlier, I can't say too much, but we're working with chefs really closely right now to make one of the biggest releases yet, our biggest release as a group yet. So it's gonna be large. It's gonna be very large. So we're stoked. It's gonna be psychotically.
It'll be very, very, very large.
Right? Like not just like it's 6 inches, right? It's gonna be big.
John Holmes big, folks.
It's gonna be girthy. It's gonna be hella girthy up in here.
Like a soda can girthy, folks.
Hang on.
Somebody.
Well, so that's kind of a mixed bag, right? So most of those mixers, a lot of them have a lot of experience and a lot of time. But when it comes down to when you're developing for a big e-liquid company, like everything changes about what you're doing as a mixer. So it's less to do with your scale as a mixer and more to do with what the company's paying you to do, right? So a lot of the mixers that work for big e-liquid companies may or may not be fantastic mixers, but they can hit what the company wants, right? The company wants that stupid, simple, easy to produce, like less than 4 flavors and a lot of sweetener. Like that's what they want, right? That's what they pay you to develop. So in most cases, like, I don't know, they're probably average, right? Because the stuff they're putting out is average or less than average. But that doesn't mean that there aren't skilled mixers making big e-liquid. Like, so
it's knowing your market too,
Right.
Like somebody who can do a job well, given the tools that they give. By definition, I'd call them a pretty good mixer,
Yeah, absolutely. And they had to be good to get there in the first place, right? Like you don't get contacted to mix for a company, $1 million industry company, like a big company, without having some ability, right? And without being able to put up something that they liked in the first place. But I mean, at the same time, like, who knows? Like,
yeah, it'll be interesting. We have go to Wizard Labs, buy our one shots. Do that, because that's kind of our first team project. So if you want to support the team, even if I don't care if you buy mine, but buy your favorite mixers one shot, just because it's part of a bigger deal of trying to prove that a team of mixers are. So there's a big thing of like the ghost mixer, right? So in the industry, nobody as a mixer who mixed unicorn milk? Can you tell me? Like, no, because
Cutwood Spy.
Yeah, Cutwood Spy did, but like that's
that's all right.
You as a mixer 3 or 4 years ago were kind of just a contractor, right? So they're just getting the recipe and then they're going off and making big money. And that was like, we were able to change that kind of thought process with the mixer collection, where it's like, this is Vape Shop e-juice, but also our names are on the bottle. Like the mixer matters type of, changing the focus, where like in cooking, where the actual chef who might be, in charge of the restaurant matters versus just like the restaurant name. And that's the big trend too, is that, and if the mixer matters, that means the mixer gets paid, mixer can get a percentage, mixer, so all those things are important, not just for what we do, but like for the industry, where before you were having to just like take a short paycheck and then walk away. And then, the guy that made unicorn milk, unless he's the creator and owner, right? If you're not the owner too, you end up walking away with, 1/1000th of the profits. So that's the change in the industry that, we're all hoping to push forward is, mixer first you know, the mixer matters, that you want to buy an e-liquid made by your favorite mixer, not just your favorite brand, right?
Exactly. Well, and the bigger picture too is that the more that we grow one shots as an industry this year, right? The more chances everyone has, not just EGAM, not just e-juice makers, not just Wayne Walker, like you guys watching, all of you people that are still learning the ropes and maybe have a dream of wanting to, you know, have your own product on a shelf somewhere someday. Like the more that we grow this year, because we're here first, right? Like we're some of the first people out in the, you know, in the one shot community in the United States. Like the more that we grow, the more that everyone else will grow. And look at Chef's Flavors is a perfect example of that. 2 years ago, they started to transition from making e-liquid, just regular e-liquid, into the one shot production. And they started with just a handful of one shots on their website and a bunch of flavors. And they fucking they went out, right? They found mixers and they got them exposed. They did it for us. They did it for they do it with Wayne. You know, they did it with the VHM guys and a lot of other people, right? Darren Cole, like all those guys got their start at Chefs, right? And now look at them. You know, Darren is releasing a new 4 or 5 flavors every quarter. We've got a new round of 4 or 5 flavors coming about every quarter over there. We got the new line at Whiz Labs. Like we're moving and we're growing. We're not growing super fast and we're not paying our bills yet, but the extra income is nice. So we're getting to a position where we're not taking a loss to buy more flavors and to test more flavors and to put out more content, which is what we were doing before, you know. And then, you know, from there, right, like the more this grows, right, the more Whiz Labs grows, the more the ECX one shots grows, the more the Bull City flavors grows, like the more chances there will be for the rest of you to get it on the, you know, the same deal, right? It's a huge market that's completely untouched. So, you know, the more we grow, the more you grow. That's my speech.
No, you're right. You're right, because if you're an up and coming mixer or you want to be seen more, like we got to succeed. Like e-juice makers has to succeed. Wayne's projects have to succeed, because if they don't, the guys that own these companies are going to tell you to fuck off. You know, so it's important that, you know, our projects succeed, because it actually helps you guys too. Like it establishes a standard where if a company's making a bunch of money off of the DIY mixer, they're going to expand, and then all of a sudden they want to add new mixers. Like how you know, it was just Wayne and then nobody else from the US, and then, you know, a couple and I got into Chefs, and now you got Shindo getting into Chefs, right? So that's the progression where, you know, if we would have failed hard and Wayne would have failed hard there, they wanted to take another mixer, because they'd be like, oh, that doesn't work, right? So it's important these projects all work for that sake, is that we can all grow together. And I'll tell you where the money is. It's not from these DIY companies. I mean, those are the steps we're taking. But, you know, there's going to be US style growth in like Brazil and New Zealand, Australia, Russia, China. All these things are going to scale. And if we've established that we're not just fuck around mixers, but we're pro mixers, and not just e-juice makers, but there's other people that are like firmly got a track record of successful projects, then you're going to get these big jobs, you know, these new juice lines for different countries and things like that. And that's where you can really profit from it. So just some things to think about, you know. We all succeed together. That's why we work with Wayne. That's why we all work together, because, like, you know, he'll open a door, we'll open a door, and then things go bigger, you know. So that's the plan.
Well, that's it. That's our one shot shill speech of the day.
That was painless, right?
we'll be back. We'll be back next week to do the same thing again.
Damn right.
You know, if you guys have stuff that you want us to talk about or questions you want answered in between that you want answered on the air, drop into the Mixlife Facebook group and drop one of us a line, or you just send us a message or something. And don't be afraid to be active in the group. So it's been a little quiet in there lately. So even if it's just a troll post or whatever, making fun of Adam, that's cool. We all do it. Or me, I guess. I'm pretty easy to make fun of, right? It's good.
I'm super dignified. I'm much harder to make fun of.
You can't make fun of Rick, right? Because then he gets salty.
I have super thin skin too. It's kind of a nightmare. I'm bad to work with.
If it gets past the mustache, you're in trouble.
When you get to this 355 mark, his dignity fades away, though, folks. It's something about 355 to 4 o'clock in the old Mixlife shows. Shit gets weird.
Yeah, Jen, I need to get your link put up in the description too. I meant to do that before I started, but I lost some of my URLs and I was short on time. There's links below in the description. Click on like and subscribe if you haven't already, and that fancy little bell so that you know when we're coming live on the air. Usually it's right around this time, right around 12 p.m. Pacific Standard or 3 p.m. Eastern. We're always around every Sunday from now on. So no more breaks for a little while. We'll be killing
Season 2. Welcome to Season 2.
Season 2. Does that mean I have to start naming the episodes, like the numbers again, differently? Because I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's too much math.
Nah, just keep counting up.
Good. Right, because we haven't hit 52 episodes yet. So
gotta go to Jennifer Jarvis's Flavor Pro. There'll be a lot more DIY content there.
Yep. We're going to be like cross-platforming a lot of content, so it's going to be super good.
And shout out to that Year of Mixing challenge. I haven't participated in it, but she's been posting like images for inspiration and asking people to mix to those images, which is a really, really cool challenge.
Super cool idea and really fun. Yeah, definitely a really great idea, in fact. And then she includes like kind of like a rough set of guidelines, like try to use one fruit, one sweetener, one vegetable or whatever. I think that's one of the ones right now, like cocktail thing with like I can't remember, but it's good. It's good. Prices on the One Shot Labs is really good. Oh yes, thank you, Jared. I hope you liked them if you've tried them yet.
Yeah, those sample packs are cool as hell. That was really awesome of Wizard Labs to put up the fact that you can buy the entire line in 2 packages and 10 milliliter bottles. That's awesome.
And we sold out both of those sets, which was cool. So a lot of people liked it. I think it's a great way to start because you fucking can try through. It's like buying,
and figure out what you like the best, so you could reorder the stuff that you want.
And tell Dave that his recipe isn't very good. You can order it and tell him that.
Yeah, so you really get 4 out of 5 with the one with Dave's in it. The 5th one you can.
What's he in? Is he in the fruit? He's in the fruit one. Okay, just making sure. What's mine? I didn't want to be.
Yeah, mine's in the fruit one too. I'm shooting myself in the foot right now.
It smells like a black ice air freshener. Shout out to JFM Development for making me laugh at that shit.
It's okay. Dave said it tastes like a raspberry version of the Icebreakers gum. So
right,
with no raspberry in there. Damn it. Keep on mixing, everybody. Fucking, what else is going on? No more Mixlife app. I told a bunch of people, but I still get like 2 emails a day with people asking me what's going on with their app. And then e-juice makers, we're gonna direct the site to be more pro. And then we're gonna use Jennifer's site to be more so DIY, so that we can catch some bigger projects and stuff like that. So both sites will be useful, but a lot more like product-based, brand-based on e-juice makers. And then Jennifer's got the Year of Mixing thing going on. It's a fun project if you want to get on that. And then
I think it's really super cool. I'll be jumping in there for sure.
Are you doing the Mixer Club still? Is that still rocking and rolling?
Rick has been doing it. I have not made the time that I would like to, and I want to actually spend some time focusing on Mixers Club starting this month, right? So for February's release, has he put up the post for February yet?
No, but the theme is going to be duets because that worked really well last year. I really enjoyed that one. So the theme for February is going to be duets, mashing up either your own or other people's recipes, taking 2 recipes and kind of cramming it into something that achieves something even better. So
no, I like that. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I'll definitely get to work on that after I get these last 3 recipes dialed in. I'm pretty close, I think. And then I know I didn't release a lot of work last year after the springtime because I was like just slammed with like 1,000 other things. But things are looking like they're gonna maybe stabilize a little bit. So be on the lookout for our ELR and ATF releases. So I usually try to kind of release on both at the same time, so I hit like both crowds, both schools of thought there. I know a lot of people like ATF better, but ELR has its place in the mixing world, and I'm not going to stop using it.
And Concrete River's going to Bitcoin ransom all his Reddit notes. So
well, I'm going to get with the times, and apparently I'm going to use Monero or one of the other fake money options.
I like it. Right?
I will only accept Monopoly 100s.
All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. We'll see you again next Sunday, same time. And, join the group, click like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Cheers.